Hey, what's going on, guys? Checking out an all-new special Monday night edition of the RCWR Show. Lee Sanders here. Welcome, welcome. You know how we've been doing it over here? Been doing it since 2011, covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond. Since 2011, we're coming at y'all with a special Monday night edition for this Monday of April the 8th, 2019. Here we are once again, and after this I am taking a well-deserved week off because we gave you guys so much fantastic content. There was so much that we put out there. If you missed a big bulk of it, don't worry, I'll give you the skinny on what all had went down since last I was on the air with you all. But there was a lot of content that we put out there, and I know there's probably a good amount of you guys that didn't check some of it out, so now more than ever you'll have a good opportunity to catch up on that good stuff. So we're coming at you live right now, a couple of different outlets. Of course, we're live via the RCWR Show app, available for free in the Google Play Store, also live via Spreaker, also coming at you via our Discord server, and live via YouTube. You know, I thought that we were going to be done after this week as far as popping up on Monday nights, but no, we're actually going to be popping up one more time on a Monday night based on some of the things that had transpired on tonight's Monday Night Raw. We will, in fact, be back next Monday night. I'll give you the skinny on that in just a little bit, but I'm sure you guys are pretty damn smart. I think you all would have a very good scope of why we're going to be coming back Monday night, because it was revealed during Raw. But anyway, come one, come all, we're going to be live for the next little bit. There's not really too much I want to get into tonight, so I mean, other than this Raw after Wrestlemania, there are little tidbits of news items I want to talk about, but I definitely want to do my best to make it be a short show. I know normally when I say that, we end up having like a freaking 2+ hour show, but really, I don't know that many other topics we could get into, especially on top of all the other content that was pumped out leading up to now, right? Look, great Raw that we had tonight coming to us once again from the New Jersey area there. It was New Jersey, am I not mistaken, guys? If I'm wrong on that info in any type of way, somebody let me know. But history has shown whenever they do these NXT/WrestleMania weekends, they're normally in the same stadium. I know as far as WrestleMania, the event itself, they're usually there at the same stadium for that WrestleMania, and then they come on back usually same stadium, or they're in the same area still for the night after WrestleMania on that Raw. So I would like to believe that tonight and tomorrow they're going to be, thank you Aussie, thank you. So they were in Brooklyn tonight, so they should be in Brooklyn once again for SmackDown. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. That's the history. I'm just going based off of what the history has shown. If somebody can let me know if they're also going to be in Brooklyn for SmackDown tomorrow night, I'd appreciate that as well. So great crowd, great atmosphere. You know, when I compare the Raw After Mania crowds to the previous years, I would have to say last year's Raw After Mania was a bit so-so. This one for me was a little bit better than last year's crowd. Not the best, but it was a little bit better than what I had saw from last year's crowd. I would definitely say that they had their moments where they were really into things and all that good stuff, and then they also had moments where it was kind of, all right, you guys are very alive. That's awesome. That's really awesome. And shout out to Freddie. Freddie is saying that the YouTube stream is running pretty good. It should, because I don't have that many things open today as far as the programs go. And thank you. Yes, SmackDown will also be in Brooklyn, New York for you guys that maybe are in the area, you're thinking about it. Now, if tickets are sold out, you just got to look in the right places. It pays to be following certain individuals on social media, because I saw guys offering tickets at reasonable deals. I bullshit you not, to the point there was somebody that was offering Raw tickets for tonight about an hour. They came across the tickets like an hour before the show went live, and it was in a good section. It was in section F or something like that. I forgot what row, but they basically were like, hey, you know, I've got 3 of these seats available. Grand total I'm asking for, I think he wanted 600. because he had 3 to 4 seats. That's kind of a good steal when you kind of kick back and do the math, I personally think. So if you can get 3, 4 people, right, I think that's pretty damn good, right? Good moment. Yeah, good stuff. So, yeah, the crowd overall, though, I would have to say they were pretty good. They were pretty good for tonight. I definitely got to give it up to them. There definitely was a lot of forward progress in story arcs, key things that made you take a step back and go, all right, finally, all right, now, okay. Because after seeing what you had saw from WrestleMania with the amount of people that walked out as champions, you couldn't help but go, all right, so we got a hard reset here. All right, well, let's see what we can do with that. And for anybody else that is, for anybody else that may be having some issues, I just want to point this out real quick. Freddie brought this to my attention. He said the YouTube stream is running well. That's great. Spreaker stream is running well as well. Apparently the Discord is a little bit choppy, and I don't think it has anything to do with me. I think it really has to do with the server on Discord, because I'm seeing that my signal strength is pretty strong in the Discord. So if anybody else is listening via Discord and it's coming in a little bit choppy, you got some other outlets where you can listen. But look, before I get into Raw tonight, I do want to spend just a couple of minutes just sharing some WrestleMania afterthoughts and everything. They gave us a lot to talk about with regards to Raw, so we'll definitely we'll give you guys the Raw hookup and then some. But I just want to kind of revisit WrestleMania one more time now that I've had some time to really digest it and everything. Look, did this year's WrestleMania execute from the standpoint of giving us moments that we'll be talking about in maybe a few years to come? Yes. For example, classic Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena coming back. Yes, we definitely will remember. If we can't remember WrestleMania 35, I think to an extent we would at least be able to say, oh yeah, WrestleMania 2019, vintage John Cena had came back. Remember, he cut the promo on that guy that looked like Seth Rollins and freaking Macho Man. What was the guy's name with the guitar? Elias or whatever, right? I truly believe that 3 years from now, 5 years from now, fans will still recall that moment as far as WrestleMania moments, right? So that was a great moment. What went down with Kofi Kingston, on so many levels, that was a really great moment as well. And, you know, I wasn't going to bring this up until later on in the show, but I'll just throw a teaser out there right now. Some of you guys, with regards to, oh, well, what about Mark Henry? Well, what about Booker T? They were WWE champions. Y'all got to seriously brush up. You got to seriously brush up. We'll talk more about that later, but the Kofi Kingston moment, him winning the WWE Championship, great moment. Becky Lynch walking out as the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion, great, good feel moment. All of those moments so far, great, good feel moments that you'll be talking about. For the diehard fans and Kurt Hawkins, hey man, his losing streak, it finally came to an end. All right. He's tag team champions with his boy, Zack Ryder. Great. All right. So that's another moment right there. Fuck. Even if you are remotely a fan or a diehard fan of the Iconics, you got your moment right there. For the hardcore fans and Carmella winning, you got your moment right there. Now, with regards to Carmella and the Iconics winning, I honestly believe 3 years from now, 5 years from now, ain't nobody really going to remember. But the other moments that I talked about, people will remember. So that's a good thing, because I do remember I was on this same show last year after WrestleMania had came about, and I remember saying, it was good, but there really wasn't any memorable moments that you'll be able to talk about for years to come, right? Hey, Kurt Angle, by the way, Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, he had his final match. That was it for him, right? So we got a WrestleMania that was all about the moments. And I appreciate WWE trying to give us those moments that we'll remember for years to come. It was a decent pay-per-view. I know I said I wasn't going to give the whole rating scale and all that, but I mean, if I had to, I know a thumbs up or a thumbs down is pretty vague. And overall, I did say, hey, it gets a thumbs up. But if I were to bring a number scale into it, I would say the pay-per-view was probably a modest 6.5, maybe 7 stars. I'm leaning more towards 6.5. And you know the reason why? It's because it was so long. It was so long. It shouldn't take that long to make your point, right? And if you're going to do something like this, then I think it makes even more sense to go on ahead. And with regards to these WrestleMania shows, you really should go on ahead and have WrestleMania come on earlier. If you're not going to cut the length, then you need to go on ahead and you need to start WrestleMania a lot sooner. Do we really need a 2-hour pre-show? No, we honestly don't. We do not need a 2-hour pre-show. Trim that down. Make it be an hour, or I don't think 2 hours is needed. You could do an hour, maybe you could do an hour 15, right? You could do something like that. You can easily break that up. You can easily break that up. And to Onoko Pro, yes, 8 hours. It is, my friend. It is way too long. So you got to trim that. If you're going to keep that going, start it early. So for this year, for instance, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, WrestleMania began, what, on the East Coast? 7 p.m., right? And your pre-show was at 5. Well, nah, man. Don't you think it makes more sense to have the pre-show maybe come on at 4 or 3:30? There you go, 3:30. And then have WrestleMania start at 5. And then there you go. You've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take it on up to 11 o'clock, right? So you have yourself a 6-hour event or whatever. You got to do it like that. You got to, especially for the people that have relied so heavily on public transportation. Now, that's something that we really did not talk about. We didn't talk about at all on the show the other night. But I see that a lot of people, you can see the pictures for yourself online if you didn't get a chance to. There were a lot of people that were complaining about how difficult it was to try and catch an Uber or a Lyft or hop on the train after WrestleMania was over. And definitely the governor had weighed in of New Jersey. It was pretty damn bad. A lot of people were stranded. Some people had to wait for a Lyft or an Uber for about anywhere from 30 minutes on up to an hour. And then on top of that, it had rained. Now, some people will hear this and they will say, well, everybody just needs to prepare better. You know where you're going to be going to. You know that this is one of the most biggest spectacles out of the whole year. You know everybody and their mama is going to be going. So what you may consider to be, oh, well, I'm just going to leave out 15 minutes early, or I'm going to leave out. So does everybody else pretty much have that same mentality, right? I'm sure that there were a lot of people beforehand that did a solid job in educating themselves, the transit system, getting everything down and trying to make sure, okay, we'll be all right. We'll be able to stay. We'll be able to watch this whole thing. We'll be able to get home in one piece. But apparently you had a serious miscommunication between the transit system / city government officials and the cutoff time and WWE. So apparently the fault ultimately lies on the shoulders. Take it with a grain of salt, but apparently it lies on the shoulders of the WWE because they ran past the cutoff time. And that really does not surprise me at all whatsoever. Okay. But very interesting article that I had came across with regards to this. So yeah, you had about around 30 to 45 minutes after WrestleMania had ended, started to rain. You had fans waiting hours to catch the trains. And that's ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. And you had one WWE personality. I got to show her some love because she had a serious, scary experience. She's a TV star and she just so happens to be a WWE fan. She starred in Bravo's The Princess of Long Island. And she had documented her Twitter experience waiting for an Uber. And apparently this Uber driver got lost. And she was putting tweets out there asking for help because she felt that the driver was not only driving fast, but he was driving in the wrong direction, and he just so happened to stop in the middle of a highway. And her name is Ashley White. You could find her if you got the Twitters and all that. You could find her on Twitter up on Ashley White 23. Once again, it is Ashley White 23. And it's really scary. I mean, she didn't put that many tweets out, but just to kind of read these to you, she says, at Uber, I need your help. I'm scared in my Uber. He's looking at his phone, going in the wrong direction, going fast, stopped in the middle of the highway. I need your help. And it's pouring rain. Then she followed that up with, I'm scared and need help. Please, someone help. I'm in my Uber. I'm on low battery and crying. I'm in the middle of nowhere. He's lost, driving fast, keeps looking at his phone. Ridiculous. You know, just ridiculous. What else we got here? She also said, saw a police car on side of the road and got out. Am literally hysterical. The police officers took us to a train station so we could be inside, waited for us to get a new Uber and waited to put us in the new Uber. I'm so grateful for them. So, I mean, it's great that she had the type of experience that she had. And to Joey in the chat, dude, we're going to talk all about Bret Hart's attacker. We don't really need to give him any more press than what we're already giving him. But that is on the docket of the show tonight. I'm sorry we're not getting to it at the speed that you like, my friend. But we do plan on talking about it in just a little bit. Just kick on back. Enjoy a nice, tall, cool one, my baby. We're going to get to it, all right? Calm your little horses down. So, you know, you hear that. I'm sorry that she had that type of experience. And I know that there's probably going to be a few people that's going to be heckling her and everything. But if at any point in your life, and you've done it more than once, I'm sure you could probably relate to what this young girl is basically feeling. Oh, hang on a second here, guys. Do 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 do. Okay, now we're good. Hang on one second. Yeah, I know, Freddie. I know. That was I know, Freddie. If you guys are like, what's going on? You would just have to be part of the chat to see what the hell went down there. I know, it's funny. I love that shit. But we just keep rocking and rolling. That's how it is here. We just have a fucking good time and we just let shit loose. But no, anybody that has taken an Uber or a Lyft, you've taken it enough. I'm sure you guys can definitely understand where Ashley was coming from. I just told you guys a story from a couple of weeks back on the show, and I'm just summarizing the story. You know, my woman, she had got an Uber, because she asked me, she said, hey, I'm running late for work. I'm kind of low on money. Can you spot me till Friday? I really need an Uber. I got to get to work. I said, yeah, no problem. So I get a fucking Uber, and she gets the driver, and the fucking driver is freaking do-do-do-do-do-do. The freaking driver speaks no type of English whatsoever. It was ridiculous. No type of English whatsoever. She got in the vehicle and she was like, how are you? You know, how you doing today? He said nothing. And as they were driving, she tried to point out to him, oh, hey, you know, you kind of went in the wrong direction there. You actually should be going. And he was ignoring her. And I remember there was an issue with the fare. And the issue with the fare had came into play because I had ordered an Uber cab the first time and I didn't read it right. And it was actually Lyft. Forgive me. It was Lyft that I had ordered. I didn't read it right the first time. And it turns out what it said via Lyft was that my ride was coming ASAP. I wanted for a Lyft to come at a particular time. And I read it wrong. And it was ridiculous. So as a result of that, I thought that maybe I had got charged twice because I went back and I ordered another vehicle. And I wasn't sure if it looked in my bank account. I looked at my bank account and it looked as though I was charged twice. And I was like, fuck. So I just let it ride. And when she got into the cab that I just told you about with that respected driver, she was asking him, oh, hey, you know, by the way, my man, he ordered a Lyft before. Looks like you were the same driver. And hey, how would we go about getting a refund for that? Said jack shit, nothing. And she asked him like 3 more times. And finally, she asked him straight up, hey, do you speak English? And he said, no. That's all he said, no. And it was the most uncomfortable, worst ride that she ever experienced in her whole life. I had a similar ride. I forget if it was with Uber or Lyft, but I had a similar experience to what she had just a couple of weeks later when I was trying to go see Shazam. So my point is, and I'm sure everybody has their own bad Lyft or Uber story that we could just kick back, have drinks, and either laugh or go, damn, that's fucked up, right? So you can't help but feel where Ashley is coming from. I think that she did everything right, but sadly, with where we are in 2019, Uber and Lyft, they have poor communication issues, right? If you need to get in contact with customer support, you're trying to bring something to their attention ASAP. Maybe it has to do with the driver that you have or whatnot. It's not like a taxi cab service. That's the one thing that I like about taxis, even though they may charge what they charge and everything. That's the one thing I got to give them a lot of props for, which is, you know, at least if there's an issue with your ride or whatever, 24/7, you'll be able to speak to a live agent, right? And sadly with Uber and Lyft, you don't really get that. So, I mean, she did her part right in trying to at them on social media, but also quietly tweeting out there, hey, I need some help. Because think about it, if she were to get on the phone and maybe text 911 or something like that, it's not like you're sitting in the cab and, hey, your cab driver's name is Habib Mundun and his badge number is blah, 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 and the cab vehicle number that you're in is blah, blah, blah. It's not like that at all. The only thing that you pretty much are able to text to the police, right, is the tag of the vehicle that you're in, because you get that information from your Lyft Uber driver in your message through the app, right? So you only are going to be able to do that. And then if you're not really familiar with the area, you're not going to really be able to give them the cross street and all of this other shit. So to hear that she was able to get out of there okay and everything, yeah, that's good. Knock on wood is all I have to say. But I don't think there would have been that much preparing in the world for people to try to get out of there on time with regards to WrestleMania. You know, I'm happy that eventually a lot of those people were able to get home, but look at the costs. You had a lot of those Ubers and Lyfts. They were surcharging like a motherfucker. That was payday for a lot of those guys. They were charging out the ass, from what I hear. A lot of disgruntled people upset that they had to do that. But you know what? That's what happens. You know, it's unfortunate because you would like to believe that, hey, well, I'd hate to leave this important pay-per-view. I want to see everything, but okay, it's getting kind of late, and I kind of want to make sure I'm able to hit that last train before, right? And sadly, doesn't happen that way. So, you know, it comes with the territory. It always comes with the territory. But, yeah, so we talked about that. Raw moments, WrestleMania moments. I'm just thinking if there's anything else I want to touch upon with regards to the WrestleMania moments. Then there really isn't. All right, let's talk about Raw, and I'll definitely get into some snippets, including that thing about Bret Hart and his attacker and all of that other crazy shit. So, Raw tonight, I loved how things had pretty much kicked off. I really did. Just to kind of go over briefly some of the notes of what all had transpired tonight. I love how things had kicked off with the new Undisputed Champion. Universal Champion. I'm sorry. I got my mind. I'm looking at a book over here. Forgive me. We had our Raw Universal Champion, Seth Rollins. Title looks good on him. I must admit, it looks good on him. I love the little promo that basically he had cut out there, and the fans, Brooklyn crowd, really soaking it all up. Oh, happy days are here again, as you now have a Universal Champion that you'll be able to see on a weekly basis. How about that? All right, so now gingerly, that casual wrestling fan, and you're flipping the channels and, oh, hey, what's going on? Right? So now you got somebody that if they catch your eye, you're going to be able to see them on a consistent basis. You can't go wrong with that, right? You can't go wrong with that. Seth Rollins and Euphoria pretty much sending a shot to Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Hey, if those guys want to go on ahead and want to do their little trip in Las Vegas and all that, hey, no problem. They can stay out there in Las Vegas forever as far as I'm concerned, because, hey, the champ is here. Champ is always going to be right here. I love all that. I love all that. Crowd eating that up. But then we had a surprise appearance by the New Day. All three members of the New Day came out, right? So it was a great sight to see the new WWE champion in Kofi Kingston face to face with freaking Seth Rollins, the Universal Champion. I'm watching this historical moment and I'm going instantly, title versus title. I'm just quietly thinking this to myself. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yes, let's do it. I know we're not going to get one champion, but let's do it. Let's do it. I knew there was going to be a fuck finish, but I still wanted to see this match. I thought the two of them alone would really tear the house down. And sure enough, Kofi Kingston was out there to issue a friendly challenge. Hey, with what we saw of Becky Lynch walking out as the Raw and SmackDown champions, how about we have a match? Winner takes all. Winner takes both titles. So Seth Rollins agreed to it. That was pretty much going to be our main event match for later on during the night. Really setting up a good tone. I got to give it up to frickin' Xavier Woods and Big E. It's the little things that they do that have me cracking up big time, because if you were watching the Hall of Fame ceremony, you would have seen those guys in the background and they were just cutting up, doing all types of facial expressions and all that. And they just continued it tonight on freaking Raw as you hear Seth Rollins' music playing and they're taking turns doing the drums and the guitar parts and all that, doing the air and all that. Just funny. And Big E, boy, I tell you, that boy, he is big as I don't know what. I never thought in 1,000 years I'd be able to see Big E do a split. I never thought I'd be able to see that. That was freaking ridiculous, man. I couldn't help but have a nice hearty laugh at that spot. But I just want to take a step back for a moment and give Seth Rollins a lot of praise. And the reason why I want to give Seth Rollins a lot of praise is because, from my vantage point, seeing him in previous years as a champion, it was always a situation where somebody was kind of backing him up a little bit, right? We remember that one of the things that had came about with Seth Rollins early on when he became a champion, he was being backed by the Authority. And everything that was just going around him, you're going, hey, you know, we need all of these players. Remember that? The Authority days, and he had J&J Security. He needed all of these supporting cast members just to try to get freaking over and all that. And it just kind of felt like, wow, that's a bit of overkill, but you still saw the potential. There was no denying that, hey, this is a guy that's going to be a multi-time champion, but you could tell very early on he was still pretty green, and you remember all the mishaps he was having on the microphone and just going, all right, you know, but I stood strong. I said, okay, you know what? He's going to get better. Don't worry about it. You know, it just comes with the territory. He just needs more and more experience. He's going to get the hang of it. He seemed way back then, and just following all the way up to now, he just really feels so calm, just so fucking loose, and he's just now out there. It really feels like legitimately you could tell Seth Rollins is now just, I'm at ease, I'm having fun. And to the point he's now interacting so well with the crowd. Remember how it's been a theme we've been talking about the past couple of weeks with some of the talent on the roster. They get out there and they're trying to make it through their monologue, their promo or whatever, and the fans are basically kind of hijacking it a bit. That's their job. The fans are going to say, they're going to poke, they're going to do whatever they can to try to mess you up a little bit. That's their job, right? But you can't be weak. You can't. And the minute that you are weak in front of them, I mean, they're like wolves. They jump on it, right? And we've seen some of the best, that includes Seth Rollins, just get weak at the knees and fumble big time. But over time, Seth Rollins has gotten better and better, and you just look at where he is right now, and I like this Seth Rollins. that I see before my eyes right now. I do. It's really come full circle, and he is a very strong. I mean, it gives me such great pride to see, okay, here is this guy. No J&J security, no authority, no aligning with somebody. Yeah, I really like it. It's one thing, you know, if it's a case, and look, everything is all written, it's predetermined. Yeah, we get all that, right? But when you just look at the early years of Seth Rollins on the main roster and you match it up to now, you really can't help but appreciate the level of timing, the level of dedication that he's put in there to get better at his craft and really come away going, all right, you're good now, right? I like that. I like that. He's a champion's champion. I like that. So good stuff. That was really good stuff. And then also, that set up a Hawkins and Zack Ryder match. You know, here we are talking about this whole instant rematches. That's got to be the end of it. But silly us, as far as the Raw after WrestleMania, we should know by now that, yeah, we need to do something. We got 3 hours to fill. We got to do a little something. We should have known a little better. But Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder, they actually had defended their Raw tag titles against frickin' the Revival once again. Closing moments of that matchup, we had saw the Revival hit the Shatter Machine, and it looked as though they were going to be able to get the W, but instead what ended up happening, we actually had saw, I believe it was Hawkins came up from behind, and Scott Dawson, he didn't realize that Hawkins was the legal man because he did not see the tag, fortunately. So Hawkins came up from behind, did a roll up on Dawson, 1, 2, 3, and that's how Hawkins and Ryder were able to retain that way. You know, something that I was kind of thinking about, and that's usually the case. I mean, after I do these shows, yeah, usually I'm playing the audio back, I'm editing, and I'm listening to the parts where, okay, all right, that's good. And it always kind of clicks into me, damn, I wish I would have, you know, but I can only do so much when I'm live on the air, and I take great pride in the fact that the shows are not rehearsed. I have bullet points as far as just one-liners that I want to talk about, but I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, but I speak from the heart, okay? And, you know, it was one of those things where I couldn't help but wonder to myself, after the Hall of Fame ceremony in particular, and then seeing what had went down after WrestleMania, I couldn't help but wonder, okay, so with regards to the Revival losing the tag titles, is it possible that the tag titles were taken off of them because of what Dash Wilder had did at the Hall of Fame ceremony? Is it even remotely possible? You know, just kind of something to think about. Or was it always in the cards that they were going to lose the tag titles at WrestleMania? I really can't help but wonder that. I really can't. And the reason why I put that question out there is because, look, say what you will, but Dash Wilder, and I'm going to talk more about the whole Bret Hart thing, but Dash Wilder, I like what he did to that dude. I did. I mean, it spoke so many volumes. I know in my past, I've done some shit like that. I've done some stupid shit like that. Because in the line of work that I used to be in, I used to have to kick people out all the time and shit. And yeah, I used to do some stupid little shit like that. Especially when I had a couple of friends that were police officers and they would fucking look the other way or whatever. And, you know, it was whatever, you know. But for me, he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done that because the guy was already apprehended. All right. If there was ever a time to beat the shit out of the dude, it was when he got in that ring and he beat the holy shit out of fucking, I'm sorry. If there was ever a time to beat the shit out of that guy that attacked Bret Hart, it was while that guy was in the ring and there was the scuffle on the ground. That was the time to do whatever it was you were going to do to that guy. But after you get that guy off of Bret, you've apprehended him, he's secured, you are now taking him off of that podium / taking him away from the ring, and you're walking him out. You're actually escorting him out of the building, and police meet you halfway to take that individual into custody and everything. Like before this happens, right? From the moment that they take this guy out of the ring, they're walking away from the ring, and basically, you know, picture the police, you know, they're trying to meet him like halfway, but the police are about 30 feet away. Okay, well, now that the guy's apprehended and he's on his way to be given directly to the police, there's really no reason for you to just come right on in there and just sucker punch the hell out of the guy. There really isn't. And to follow up on what I had said the night before, and that was real time thinking, I was live, just giving it to you raw, no pun intended. You know, that guy, if he wanted to, he very well could hit a lawsuit. He could slap Dash Wilder and WWE with a lawsuit, and they most likely would probably have to settle. So it wasn't a smart move what Dash Wilder did, but remember what I said on the Hall of Fame after show. I said, will he do it? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to do it just because of the embarrassment and all that came with it. But then again, after some of the things that he said in court or whatever, his bond hearing or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't really know. But I can't help now but kind of wonder, okay, so now we got the tag titles off of the Revival. You know, is WWE kind of preparing themselves for a potential storm or what? More on that to come in the weeks to come, as far as I'm concerned. Baron Corbin came on out. Baron Corbin getting that white hot heat. I loved it. I love hearing that Brooklyn crowd saying, fuck you, Corbin. I love that. He is doing his job, and he is doing his job oh so well. I'm sorry. I'm a sucker, man. I've been saying it on this show for years, which is I am a sucker for any reaction. Any reaction is better than no reaction whatsoever, okay? Because it is all about longevity. That's what it is. And early on, was Baron Corbin worthy of the go away, dude? You just suck on so many levels. Yes, but he is really coming into his own. Now it is just a case where he does his job so well as a heel, and just all of the shit that he does on social media and everything. He is simply put the one you love to hate. He is fitting that moniker oh so well, right? And I gotta give, once again, Baron Corbin a lot of props. I mean, ever since I said what I said a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately, Corbin was tagged. There was somebody that, I can't even remember the guy's name now, but somehow Baron Corbin's name, you know, at Baron, whatever his handle is, was brought up, and I interacted with some guy about Baron, and I stated my case as far as constructive criticism, and it was, look, Baron's coming along, but if there's one thing where he needs to improve upon that I like to see, it's that he plays better off of the crowd. Don't just stand there, have that awkward look on your face when you feel the crowd is hijacking your monologue set, right? When you feel as though, I don't know what to do because they're making this No, take it. Turn it against them. Use it against them. That's what you got to do. It's like a game of tennis when you're going out there and you're playing with these guys. You got to be quick with it. You got to be savvy. And Corbin has been picking it up. Of all of the elements where I had a serious bone to pick with of Corbin, that was the main one. But everything else, I felt he was coming along. And ever since I put that out there, and sadly he was tagged. I didn't tag him. I was just responding. He's been coming along with that to the point you see tonight. Go back and watch it for yourselves. The way the crowd is coming at him, and he waits about 3 or 7 seconds or whatever, and he's just with it. He comes right back and he's playing off of them. Yes, that's what I want to see. And once he owned them, okay, he's got us, and they kind of quiet. There you go. He was able to make his point and everything. Kurt Angle coming out, shaking his hand, wishing him luck, bad luck, hitting him with the angle slam, following it up with the ankle lock. Good stuff right there. Love that. But then from there, we had somebody finally make their presence felt on the Raw roster. We've been hearing a lot about them for a couple of weeks. Lars Sullivan. I want to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. First, let me talk about Kurt Angle, and then we'll talk about Lars Sullivan. With regards to Kurt Angle, look, with the way things had went down with Kurt Angle officially now making his exit out of the company, doing a really good kind gesture, putting over the next talent, the next young talent almost identical to what he did when he was in Impact Wrestling. And I put a tweet out there. I basically had said, look, and I'm paraphrasing now, for as long as Kurt Angle has been involved in the business, all of the significant contributions that he's made for the business, the fan part in me was greatly disappointed that he did not get the type of a proper send-off that a Ric Flair was given, because I felt that this man was definitely deserving of it. I also understand that, hey, the show must go on, next man up. I'm feeling all of that, but forgive me, I wish it was a case where we could just have both. And to basically just see Kurt Angle lose his match against Corbin, and we don't even get that moment where Kurt Angle grabs a microphone. The biggest, grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. Grabs a microphone and just takes about 3-4 minutes to thank the crowd. Thank all of them for their great support over the years, all of that great stuff. We don't get that. Nah, he just simply rolls out of the ring. All right, hey, hit my 2 words again. You know, just going out there like that. You suck. It's just, I didn't like that. There was a part of me that was hoping that, well, maybe he'll get a Raw send-off. Maybe he'll get a proper Raw send-off. And we didn't get that. So I was a little bit heartbroken by that. I really was, because we're never going to see somebody of the likes of a Kurt Angle again. A former Olympic gold medalist, documented career in pro wrestling, making the transition to sports entertainment, achieving what he was able to achieve, doing his part, not just after the WWE, but coming on over into Impact Wrestling and loaning his talents to try to help take Impact Wrestling to newer heights, of which he was able to do. I still remember very vividly when Kurt Angle came in there and made his presence felt. I still remember it, and he gave us a lot of great moments in Impact Wrestling. It just sucks that everything just is so nonchalant as far as a bookend on this second chapter of his life in the WWE. Now look, I'm not saying that this is it for Kurt Angle. I feel we're still going to see him from time to time on special episodes of Raw, SmackDown, and all that. We're still going to see him for whatever, you know, Raw 5,000 or, you know, whatever the fuck, 50,000, Raw 1 million, right? And he's still alive. We're still going to see him from time to time pop up for special milestones, I feel. But to have a bookend like that to a decorated wrestling career, it's just so nonchalant. It was just left a bitter taste in my mouth, I would have to admit. Now, Lars Sullivan. After Angle did what he did to Baron Corbin, we saw Lars Sullivan. We heard a lot about this guy. I've seen some of his stuff down in NXT. I was very impressed with this guy. It was great to finally see this man come up. He looks good. Smells like money. I remember when I was looking at him down at NXT, I said, my God, this big mammoth beast of a man, shit, put him on the main roster. You can do some things with him. And I see some people going with the whole, it's Gene Snitsky 2.0, what the fuck? Yeah, does he give you that Gene Snitsky vibe? Yes. Yes, he does. The only difference is this guy is a bit younger than Gene Snitsky, right? So, because if I kind of remember it right, when Gene Snitsky was finally, all right, he's kind of hot. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he was at the age of where Lars Sullivan is at right now. I don't think he is. And if somebody could maybe do me a favor in the chat, tell me the age of Gene Snitsky right now, and then try to figure out what age was he when he signed with the WWE. That's your 2 homework assignments right there. That way we all can be a bit more enlightened. Look up how old he is right now, and then what age he was when he signed with the WWE. Put it to you this way, just to really pinpoint this better. So by the time we see Gene Snitsky, it's pretty much Raw, right? pretty much Raw. Okay, so whatever age he was when it came to making his Raw debut, and we'll pretty much go from there. But yeah, I see nothing but good things happening for Lars Sullivan. I know this was a touch and go type of situation. Supposedly you had the reports out there where he was having some personal issues, and as a result of that, it kind of hindered him a bit from doing this a lot sooner. But you know what, considering everything that was going on at the time, and just considering where things are now, it actually kind of played out a lot better if you really kind of stop and think about it. I honestly believe if he would have popped up when he was originally supposed to, I kind of think that he would not have had the type of focus that he has now if he tried to do it back then, make his debut back then. I personally feel. So it's interesting how things just play out. Shout out to Austin. I figured he was a lot older. Okay, so he was 40, he's 49. Gene Snitsky is 49 years old. So he was 34 or 35 the moment that we saw him on Monday Night Raw. Okay, so he was already kind of outside that window of, you know, okay, this guy is pretty damn young, and, you know, we can do some really good things with this guy. Here's a case where now, when you hear that and you say, well, damn, 34, 35, that's not really that. In wrestling years, that is kind of old, right? But if you have that look, remember, Dave Bautista, he started kind of late too. When you get those guys that are around that age that Austin mentioned, 34 or 35, you got a real short window. A real short window, and Gene Snitsky had a real short window, and it flopped real quick. Now, when I look at a guy like Lars Sullivan, just considering what he did in NXT, I think he's going to do wonderful things on the main roster. I really, really do. If you ask me which brand I'd like to see him go to, I kind of feel like SmackDown needs a bit of a strong facelift from a main heel antagonist. I personally would like to see freaking Lars Sullivan head on over there. I would. But for anybody that's not really familiar with Lars Sullivan's work, I definitely recommend, yeah, I know you have the WWE Network, right? I hate to be going in a cheap plug mode, but definitely next time you get, I don't know, a day off from work, 3-day weekend or whatever, just go on the WWE Network, type in Lars Sullivan, kick on back, enjoy, right? If you ain't got the WWE Network, just type in a Daily Motion or YouTube search Lars Sullivan NXT and just kick on back and enjoy what you're seeing. He's good. He smells like money. Now, if you were to ask me, does he have that Dave Bautista vibe as far as what Dave was able to do in the WWE? I see it. I see it visually. I see it. I just don't know if WWE can really make it come to fruition the way that I'm seeing it. But time will definitely tell. Time will definitely tell. Yeah, Steven, we got it, brother. I appreciate that. You know what? You must have been researching at the same time Austin was. I appreciate that, though. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you both. So, but yeah, he looked pretty good. Now, look, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have knuckleheads that are going to go on ahead, and they're going to, I'm talking about the bloggers. I'm talking about the wrestling websites that ain't got nothing better else to do than to rehash some old shit. You've seen it with your own 2 eyes. You hear the return of the XFL. Vince McMahon was groping massage parlor women and soliciting himself to blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what does this have to do with the XFL? Not a damn thing. We just wanted to mention this once again, right? We're going to mention the thing about Batista too, Steven. Kick back, man. We got it. We got it, brother. We got it. Crazy. Just crazy. You know they're going to do it, though. You know that they're going to go on ahead and they are going to do everything in their power to remind fans, oh, did you know Lars Sullivan said some controversial racist stuff online? Did you know that in some forums he was saying this and he was saying that, blah this, blah that? And, you know, I talked about it once on this show, and I'll be quick to bring it up again, which is, look, man, when he said what he had said, he was a young man, a much younger man, naive, probably was just saying what he was saying because it was like the next best thing. You're able to talk a hot game in front of a keyboard. But here was a case where he felt very confident in how he looked because he was into bodybuilding and all that, and he had no problem sharing his face. Now, if you would have told him way back then that in a few years he would sign with the WWE and he'd be on their flagship shows and all of that other stuff, I'm sure he would probably say to you, well, if that's really going to be the case, maybe I should kind of stop what I'm doing here in the forums, don't you think? Maybe I should stop that, right? But I'm not sticking up for the stuff that he had put out there. What I'm all about is, okay, that was then, this is now. I'm more interested in the man that you are today as opposed to the man that you were that was posting the stuff that you were posting some years back. So show me with your actions, everyday lifestyle and all that. Show me that side and show me how you've come a long way from where you were back then. Show it to me and show it to everybody else, right? So that would be my message to people that are maybe looking at this guy a little bit cross-eyed and they're kind of like, I'm not really sure about this dude. I would just say judge the guy on his actions today going forward. And, you know, one thing that definitely needs to be stressed is this guy was trained by Bobby Lashley. So as far as his proper introduction into the world of pro wrestling and everything, Bobby Lashley made it all possible. And I would like to genuinely believe that Bobby Lashley is a man that can read somebody pretty well to the point of, I don't really know if I should be helping this person because I don't know, kind of picking a little bit of racial tension here. I don't really think he's all about racial equality here, right? If anybody would know a little something about that, it would be Bobby Lashley, especially considering the history he had with Michael P.S. Hayes and all of that other shit, right? So I would like to believe a guy like Lashley would see the red flags and, nah, I don't want to have anything else to do with this kid, right? Hey, now some could make the argument looks can be deceiving. Maybe he was able to trick Lashley. We don't know. We don't know that, but I'm not interested in stuff from the past. I'm interested in where you at today. What are you doing with yourself today? So we'll see where he goes from here. I'm looking forward to it. But you know there's going to be knuckleheads with their websites, the bloggers and all that. You know there's going to be knuckleheads that's going to look at what's going on with Lars now that he's on the main roster. They're going to take to fucking their websites or whatever, and they're going to say what they're going to say, bringing up the whole stuff about the forums again. You know that's how they're going to do it. You know they are. And hey, whatever. Moving along, we did have a promo from Becky Lynch. Probably one of my favorite moments of the night. Becky Lynch, I don't know if she'll be able to get this on a t-shirt. We'll wait and see, but Becky had cut this promo basically talking about, hey, WrestleMania, I came out on top, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. No Ronda Rousey. No Ronda Rousey. No Brock Lesnar tonight. Nope. Nope. Nowhere to be found. All right. Becky tried to get a little chant going. I think she may have hit another money-making opportunity as she had got a chant going for 2-belt Becky. So if that can be turned into a t-shirt, I can't wait to see how that's going to play out. But you know, the crowd reaction tonight, it wasn't as magical and as explosive as when she won the titles less than 24 hours ago. It was more so of a, she got the love, she got the support and everything, but it just kind of seemed, hey, you did it! All right! Yeah, you did it! Congrats! Yay! All right, yeah. It kind of felt like that tonight. It really did. You got to go back and watch that yourself, but that's how it really have felt. But for me, what really had me raise an eyebrow, Lacey Evans coming out there Lacey Evans, ooh, getting in the face of Becky Lynch. Becky just standing there, oh so confident, right? Just looking at her like, you don't want none of this. You don't want none of the man, right? And Lacey Evans just cold clocks that sister. Oh, I ate that shit up. I kind of felt like Big Show looking at Lacey Evans for some weeks now. Show me something. Show me something. Get out there and show me something. Show me something. I've been like waiting patiently for Lacey Evans to show me something. I want to see a lot more than just coming out to your music and, you know, you're just walking down the little ramp and doing your little turn and going on back looking all devious and all of that. No, I need to see a lot more, okay? As much as I watch NXT, I sadly had a period gap where I didn't get a chance to see what she was doing in NXT, right? So I still got a little bit of catching up to do, but I'm looking at her and I'm just going, all right, yeah, the Southern Belle or whatever the hell is going on, right? You want some fried chicken? You want some country time lemonade? It's like, okay, so what else you got for me besides that? Show me something. And to see that mean streak from that sister, I mean, she got down and dirty with Becky Lynch, and I tell you, it was just in that flash of a moment did I really have appreciation for Lacey Evans. I couldn't help but kick back and go, damn, homegirl kind of has a crossbreed going on of Charlotte Flair there. Charlotte Flair meets, my God, it's on the tip of my tongue as far as the other comparison, but it's like a three-way mix. I would have to say a little bit of Charlotte Flair, a little bit of Stacy Keibler, and mixed in there is a little bit of fucking Lisa Marie Varoon, Victoria. It's got that nice trifecta thing going on there. She held her own very well against Becky Lynch. I love their brawl. I'm glad that we are now done with the silly little here she is and there she goes, right? Should I stay or should I go? I'm glad we're now past that. So the intentions are clear. Lacey Evans, she's coming after the man. I would like to believe that on SmackDown Tuesday night, Lynch is gonna come on out. Maybe she's gonna say a little something with regards to Lacey Evans, and two of them, they're gonna continue their thing, and I like that. I'm eating that up already. I'm now officially a big fan of Lacey Evans, and I tell you, man, seeing her get down and dirty like that, it turned me on. I love that shit, right? And I'm sure for Lacey Evans, she probably would hit me with that Robert Palmer song. I didn't mean to turn you on. It's like, well, it was too late. You already did it. It was hot. It was hot seeing her get down and dirty. And the sister was whooping at one point Becky Lynch's ass with heels on. With heels on. And I just love the fact that the way she was throwing it down with Becky, even though this girl was in a skirt, I mean, this skirt, a lot of times you couldn't help but see the nice little lace and the stocking snaps and all that. And, you know, for me, I don't know how it was for you guys. I'm kicking back and I'm just, you got your ball, you've got your chain tied to me tight, tie me up again. Oh my God, I'm hitting the Dave Matthews. Oh, when you crash into these. I know he doesn't say these, he says me, but I like these better. Yeah, so many levels. I was just, woo, more Lacey Evans, please. So she's won me over after tonight. She seriously has. What else we got here? So other than that, interesting spot that gave away the finish to tonight's main event match between Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston, winner takes all, right? You'd have seen this during the first hour of Raw. They did this commercial where they said, coming up Tuesday night on SmackDown, it's like we're days removed after WrestleMania. Kofi Kingston is the new WWE champion. Watch on SmackDown this Tuesday as Kofi Kingston and the New Day celebrate his championship reign. And you're going, wait just a minute here. We still have that main event match, winner takes all. what the fuck are you guys thinking? Right? We should not be seeing this. So that was a dead giveaway. That if that wasn't the dead giveaway for you guys, because I know some people are like, man, that main event was some bullshit. Like, they literally revealed their hand. If it was a game of poker, right, and you gotta call somebody's bluff, WWE just fucked it all up with their hand. I mean, they shot their load big time all over that shit, right? They left it be no fucking secret that, well, Kofi's gonna retain, right? So for me, I couldn't help, and I immediately tweeted it out. So it's not like one of those things where, yeah, I tried to be witty or whatever after the main event match. You can go on my Twitter and you can look at the timestamp for when I had said it. I'm pretty sure I said it during the first hour. And it was so funny because me, and shout out to my my good friend Titus Machiavelli, evil genius of professional wrestling, doing his thing with Rocky Mountain Pro. We both had put the same damn thought out there at the same time. And it was like, whoa, that's scary, right? But you couldn't help but think that. So, yeah, that main event match, I know we're kind of jumping a little bit back and forth, but yeah, I mean, that main event match, come on, be realistic. Did you honestly think that we were going to get on Raw a full winner-takes-all match where we would get a decisive winner? Did you honestly believe that was going to happen? I mean, look, if you legitimately were... No, I always say, wait a minute, with a match like that, why give it away for free on regular TV? Yeah, for free? Nah, my pretty babies, we gonna make you pay for that. We gonna make you pay for it at a pay-per-view. If we don't do it the next pay-per-view, we gonna get you somewhere. We gonna get you on freaking SummerSlam. We gonna get you at Survivor Series. We gonna get you at Royal Rumble. We gonna get you somewhere, but we gonna make sure we get all that money, right? And WWE realizes that. I wouldn't be surprised if there was maybe a part of them that kind of looked at that moment. Let's play around with this a little bit. Let's see what we can do with this. Okay, the fans are really... And, you know, Cesaro and Sheamus, to see them interfere in that and the crowd just eating those two guys alive, man, them two veterans, they played their roles very well. Very well. Now, see, one of the things that I don't see a lot of people talking about, everybody's just reactionary to the whole what went down with Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins match being interrupted and all of that. Hip you to this. Marinate on this for a little bit. Did you peep out how not once did we see Big E and Xavier Woods? Now remember, just to set this up properly, when Kofi challenged Seth Rollins, he said, look, you ain't exactly got your brothers in the Shield. I'll tell you what, you and me one-on-one match, I'll make sure my brothers in the New Day, they hang out back. What do you say? And Seth agreed to the terms, right? So you see that Cesaro and Sheamus, they interfere, right? But not once do you see Big E and Xavier Woods come on out, which would have made sense. And then you could have easily just had Kofi and Seth. Hey, nah, guys, nah, we got this, we're still good. Hey, you two jabronis, blah, 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 blah. Face us, tag match, right? Would have made a lot of sense. The question I have going into Tuesday Night SmackDown is, did Sheamus and Cesaro act on their own accord, or were they directed by somebody to interfere in that match? And if they did interfere at someone's discretion or at someone's command, then who was that person? Is Shane maybe the one that had said, nah, I'm not having my newly crowned SmackDown champion, though he may be a fighting champion and all that, I'm not going to have him do that on Raw without clearing it with me. And then second of all, we ain't making the most money we can out of it to get our brand over and all that. No, right? It would almost play up to this new heel incarnation we've been getting of Shane McMahon in the past couple of weeks. So did Sheamus and Cesaro act on behalf of Shane McMahon, or was it a case that Cesaro and Sheamus act on potentially the behalf of someone from New Day. Because remember, everybody, oh, we got to see Big E turn. We got to see Big E turn. Well, is it possible that maybe Big E said a little something? Is it possible? Just something to kind of wrap your brain around a little bit. It could be a little bit far-fetched, but you still got to think like that, right? One could kind of make the argument, oh, well, what about the Superstar Shakeup, right? What about the Superstar Shakeup? Maybe they just came out because there's always a reason for everything. I don't really believe they just came out there at random just for the fucking hell of it. I honestly don't believe that whatsoever. We saw a weird-ass funny moment, and I was in freaking tears laughing at this, but we come back from a commercial break, and I wasn't sure if maybe we were seeing a freaking spot for Happy with Christopher Maloney or whatever, but you see this box, and it looks like some shit that you would order off of Amazon or whatever. And you're looking at this box and you're going, okay. And it gets closer and closer and closer. And finally, the weirdest, ugliest looking fucking Muppet just comes out of it. And it's almost kind of laughing like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. You guys remember that? You go down the fucking attic and all this other shit, and you just Tales from the Crypt, you just, and this creature is just laughing, and I just laughed hysterically looking at this, because I'm going, what the fuck is this shit that I'm looking at? And I put out a tweet and I said what the fuck was that? A sign for Bray Wyatt? Or the return of the Dinosaurs TV show from the 90s? Or did someone's uterus hook up with the monster from Predator? Like, seriously, that thing was the most grotesque, yet it was so funny just seeing it pop out of the fucking box or whatever. I laughed my ass off at that. If that's a sign of Bray Wyatt, dude, color me intrigued. I need to learn a lot more about this, right? Give me some more. That's all I have to say. Give me some more. But that was a really insane, funny spot. For you guys that did not watch Raw, I'll bullshit you not, at one point during Raw tonight, if you went on the WWE.com website, all you saw was that stupid ass puppet. It was just there, and you're going, what the fuck is this, right? You're not sure what you're looking at. You're not sure if it's one of the things that I just said, or if it's a case where, coming soon to WWEshop.com, like some dumb looking creature, like, other than the googly goggler or whatever the fuck that thing was, like, I would have to say that was the most hilarious moment that I saw tonight as well. Weirdest moment of the night. We saw Dean Ambrose apparently one last time. He had a match against Bobby Lashley. Lashley had cut this promo before him and Dean Ambrose went at it, basically saying, hey, Renee, don't worry, after Dean is done, I'll take real good care of you. And she goes, I don't understand, what does that mean? And I couldn't help but go, wow. Man, even Suzanne Summers, Christie, and Three's Company would have caught that line. Like, seriously, I cringed at that one. Seeing the match end without a proper finale, basically cut to the chase, final moments, these two were brawling, fight got up to the stage ramp area, they were going back and forth, and then it looked as though Dean Ambrose was getting a little bit irritated with Lio Rush, because he kept middling in his business, so he was trying to get his hands on him. Bobby Lashley had hit Ambrose with a spear. Action comes on over to the announcer's table where Cole and the gang are, and Bobby Lashley hits Dean Ambrose with a fall-away slam. It was like a one-handed fall-away slam through the announcer's table. I am the table! And that pretty much was it. So Lashley, Lio Rush walked away. Renee Young just awkwardly quiet, just not really selling as far as I was concerned. Finally she takes off her damn headset, heads on over to check on her husband, and that pretty much was it. I I just didn't like the way this had played out, just from the Renee Young standpoint, right? Every single time they try to give Renee Young a little something something, she's not really reacting as you'd think that she should be reacting, and it's quite disappointing. You know, it's infuriating. I was looking for Renee to say, "Oh my God, please, no, don't do that. Stop. Oh my God, what are you doing? No, not through the table." I was looking for her to bring that type of excitement. She did not bring that. I was looking for her to really play up to the point of when Cole and Corey were saying, you know, hey, look, this is Dean Ambrose's last match apparently here on Raw. Renee, I'm sure that you've had many discussions with him. You know, what's going on in his mind right now? It's like they give her an inch for her to really be able to play, and she doesn't get it. She just does not get it. And it's sad. But that's Renee Young. You know, you've almost kind of come to expect it, because during your typical Renee Young match, oh my, oh God, wow, oh, damn, aww. I mean, that's her soundbite right there. I mean, so as far as, okay, who do we need to come into the WWE 2K studios and pretty much give us some sound bites? You don't need Renee Young to make an appearance, guys. All you need is to just go back and get you about 3 episodes of Monday Night Raw, and you pretty much got her fucking tracked down, period. I mean, there you go. The best of right there. But, no, seriously, man. And then, like, to make matters worse, she's gone for a whole segment, right? So to really sell on, oh, you know, Renee's not here. She's checking on Dean. Dean went through one hell of a match just now with Bobby Lashley, blah, 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 right? She's gone a whole segment. She comes on back, Cole in the game, and we want to welcome back Renee Young. Renee, man, how's Dean Ambrose doing? I don't want to really talk about that. And it's like, okay, right. And they just go right along with the next match. And it's just, now look, man, I'm not trying to say, Renee Young, go in business for yourself. I know that at the end of the day, Renee Young is going at the discretion of whoever is in her headset, whoever is writing her shit, telling her whatever to do. But I mean, you would think that, you know, if I would like to believe that if any one of us was one of those color commentators, the first question that would come out of our mouths is, can I freestyle a little bit? Okay, you're telling me that this is going to happen to my husband, right? How much room do I have to, you know, oh my God, no, you know, how much room do I have? Can I have a little bit of flexibility here? Really sell it? That would be the question. I just really wouldn't go out there and just be all fucking quiet while my husband is getting the shit kicked out of him, right? It just, that's Renee Young for you, though. That's Renee Young. Sami Zayn made his comeback. Sami Zayn looking better than ever. Remember, he had got rotator cuff surgery. He got the rotator cuff surgery on both shoulder blades. So he was out for 10 months. He's looking better than ever. He came out there and was playing up to the crowd for a bit. Said, hey, man, I've been itching for a match. I've been on the sideline for 10 months. What's up? Anybody in the back want to face me? Blah, blah, blah. That made Finn Balor come out, the new Intercontinental Champion. They had a pretty good matchup. Finn Balor picking up the W over him. Sami Zayn afterwards healing it up with the crowd, cutting a promo. Hey, you guys, I know you had missed me, and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I did not miss you. I mean, he really went into that crowd, and the crowd didn't give a damn. They knew what was going on with him, and they ate that shit up. They ate it. They loved it. Probably the other thing that came out to me from Raw that really stood out as well, Undertaker coming back. Elias had another segment where he was playing his guitar, following up from what went down at Wrestlemania. He cut some nice bars when he was rapping. Had a nice little rap rebuttal on John Cena. I ate that up. But then as soon as it ended on the next man that comes in this ring is a dead man, you're going, Taker, Sure enough, there's the dead man. Dead man looks better than ever. I know that a lot of people were very concerned about the Undertaker because there was some picture that recently came out where health-wise he looked extremely skinny. Some people felt he looked kind of ghoulish-like maybe he had terminal cancer or whatever. But I mean, that's just it. When you take pictures a certain way, you know, you can either look too skinny or you can look too fat. You can look too chunky, whatever you want to call it. So for me, when I first saw that picture of him that was floating around, all I could do was say, I can't really comment. I need to see what's going on with him, like live in person. That's where it counts the most. To the point, some of the pictures that I saw of him from a recent appearance that he made, it didn't match up to that picture that I had saw of him where he looked extremely skinny. So to see Undertaker come out tonight, full get up and all, he didn't even he didn't have the double straps on. He came out, he had his leather jacket, the hat and all that, but the straps, that was already down. So all you saw was chest and abs. He gets in that ring and everything. He looked good. He looked good. Him and Elias throwing it down. Everything looked good on Taker's side. Taker looked more smooth, looked as though the time that he spent away taking care of himself physically, I know he got some surgeries out of the way, he looked pretty good, he moved pretty well, he looks pretty damn lean. I mean, he looked a bit leaner and more defined than I've seen of Taker in previous years. He looked pretty damn good. So hey, how about debunking that rumor about WWE and Undertaker? They're not on the best of terms, blah this and blah that. How about we now officially debunk that, right? It just goes to show you that despite the fact that Mark Calloway is doing his thing over in StarCast and all that, just goes to show you if WWE needs to do some good business and they need Undertaker's help, right? That should definitely be a sign to you guys that, hey, okay, you know what? Maybe the relationship between Undertaker and the WWE is not as strained or however else all these other websites are making it out to be or whatever. Because it was weird reading so many articles and to the point of people saying, oh, you know, Vince McMahon is said to be furious that the Undertaker is. Why would he be furious? I wouldn't be surprised if a private conversation went down between Vince McMahon and Undertaker and Vince was like, oh, they want you to do what now? Okay, and what exactly would you be doing? Okay, and how much money? Psh, man, dude, go get that money. It's all good, man. We know where you are, really. Hey, look, yeah, go mingle, go talk with some of the heads and blah this and report back what you find. You know, give me some type of intel. Give me something I can sink my teeth into. I would be surprised if Undertaker is kind of going in there almost as a double agent. I really would not be surprised, but come on, man. He's got to make that money. He's got mouths to feed, man. He's got kids. This is the pull of Heath Slater. He's got kids, man. So he was in really good shape, though. He really was. Damn good shape. Dana Brooke had a moment backstage, cutting her promo, congratulating Becky Lynch as the W champion and saying, hey, I may not be in the front of the line, I may be in the back of the line, but I'm in that line, and somehow, some way, one day, I'm going to have that match against Becky Lynch. So, Becky Lynch, congrats on what you did at WrestleMania. I'm like, really? We're now going to be force-fed Dana Brooke? We've already been force-fed the Iconics. We're now going to be force-fed Dana Brooke? Bring me of higher ground. That's all I gotta say. Lord have mercy. That was just... but you know, overall, it was a pretty good Raw tonight. I would have to say it was definitely a pretty good Raw tonight. Alright, so let's go into some other little wrestling tidbits. I know some of you guys was like, Bret Hart, Bret Hart, Bret Hart, Bret Hart. So look, Bret Hart, right? And I covered a big bulk of this on the Hall of Fame ceremony. So if you did not check out the Hall of Fame ceremony after show, it's a yearly tradition that we've always done. I know you had a bunch of other cats that decided, oh, I'm going to talk about the Hall of Fame. But why were they talking about the Hall of Fame? They were only talking about the Hall of Fame because Bret Hart got attacked by some stupid ass fan. But any other time, they don't talk about the Hall of Fame in its entirety. Only a select few of us, and I basically being one of those main catalysts early on for years now All right, I'm gonna show some love to the Hall of Fame. I give a damn about it. Old school wrestling fans, they give a damn about these Hall of Fame ceremonies, so let me cover it, right? So it was funny seeing how all of a sudden people gave a damn about the Hall of Fame, but only because Bret Hart got attacked, right? So look, man, and I'm not going to repeat the guy's name. I'm not, because I'm not going to give him any more of the fame that he's already getting right now. So forgive me if I don't mention his name. You want to know his name so bad? Google. Google, bitches. Yeah, Siri, bitches. Hey, Siri. Actually, no, don't. And my Siri just came on. Disregard Siri.
I enjoy learning new things every day.
I'm sure you do. Hey, Siri. How you doing today, Siri?
Not too shabby.
All right, then. Anyway. No, seriously. I'm not going to give that guy any more press than what I've already given him, okay? Look. This obviously he is mentally disturbed. That's all I have to say. Obviously he is mentally disturbed, and he has a track record of getting in trouble with the law. That's definitely been established. He's got a bad hand. He's got a bad hand right now. This guy could be doing some jail time up to 2 years, not unless maybe they go on ahead and give him probation or whatever, but that's kind of highly unlikely. So he's facing a count of criminal trespassing and 2 counts of assault. In the state of New York, this is 3rd-degree assault charge, which is a misdemeanor, and it carries 1 year for each conviction. Since this guy is being charged for assaulting Bret Hart and a WWE security guard. Keep in mind, it wasn't just Bret Hart. There was also a security guard that was assaulted as well. This does not look good. This does not look good for this young man. And to make matters worse, the fact that this was broadcast live and people had their cell phones out and everything, yeah, not good whatsoever. Bret Hart, he did issue a response, and he kept it classy, and pretty much he was, hey, look, despite what had happened at the Hall of Fame ceremony, I was not going to deter from what I was there to do, which was to recognize myself and, you know, my late friend, my brother-in-arms, Jim Neidhart. I wanted to continue on with my speech, and I was glad I was able to do that. So he pretty much kept it short and sweet. And, you know, Bret Hart's kind of old school. Bret Hart, you know, look, I ain't going to really give you any more time of press than what you're already getting right now. He's kind of have that same old school mentality as well. Now, this knucklehead who jumped the barricade, tackled the hitman, as you all know, he appeared in court. He was given a bond amount, and it was reported by the New York Times that he had a very interesting reason for this assault, which he explained in court. It was pretty much short and sweet. He basically said, I felt like it was the right moment. I just felt like it was the right moment. Yeah, that is just failed MMA career that really did not take off to the heights that it should have. There's a couple of videos of him floating around. You can see him getting his ass kicked pretty good. It's actually pretty laughable, quite honestly. He had quit a really good job. I think he was working for Allstate Insurance or whatever. He had quit a really good job to try to pursue this or whatever. And yeah, that did not work out well. He already has history with the law. There was somebody that he had tried to stalk. There was also an assault charge that he had got a while back as well. So he already has an established history of getting in trouble with the law. It's quite sad that, you know, when you hear this, you hear that, okay, this guy is obviously mentally disturbed, and you can't help but say, well, is jail really the answer for this guy? Is maybe really the answer for him is to send him to a mental hospital and treat him? That's how it's coming off to me. All right, I don't want to try to even pretend to be Dr. Phil or anything like that, but when you look at this guy's track record and everything, it doesn't look that good. So you can't really help but wonder if mental health from professionals is really the answer, instead of incarceration, right? So look, one thing that I do want to follow up on from what I had said on the Hall of Fame ceremony from the other night, was I a bit harsh as far as some of the ideas I put out there that WWE should entertain? Yes. And I was talking about this randomly with a few friends and colleagues, and I had a little bit of time to marinate on it just overall. And I still feel in my heart of hearts that, and one of my friends, they brought up a very good point to me. They say, look, I hear where you're coming from the security standpoint and everything. It's like, I do. But if you do this, the way you're pitching it and the way that I basically had pitched it, I basically had said, look, you got to limit the amount of fans that are attending these Hall of Fame ceremonies. That way it's better crowd control. I also had called forth that, hey, if I could have it my way, fans wouldn't be invited to these ceremonies anymore or whatever, you know? And, you know, I don't know. It's weird because, and shout out to Josh in the chat. Josh wasn't happy with Raw tonight. He said that the show was trash. Wow. Josh, we're sorry you feel that way, brother. What did it for you? Give us more details, please. Wow. Well, I'm sorry, but when I see a comment like that, I got to put you on the spot. I'll buy you some time, Josh, but let us know what it was about Raw that made you feel like tonight's show was trash. I would say it wasn't the best Raw after WrestleManias, but damn, to just say it was trash? Josh, hook us up, man. Let us know what's going on. But yeah, you know, for me, like I was telling one of my friends, I said, yeah, you know, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, look, you do your idea, right? But then what happens if at a SmackDown taping or a Raw live show or at a pay-per-view, what happens if it goes down again? What do you do then? It's like, okay, that's a good point. It's like, okay, so look, you've got all your years of experience in security. How would you handle something like this going forward? What would be the new mandate? And I thought about it a bit and I said, okay, well, you know what? The one thing that I think everybody could agree upon is that you gotta have a better security layout. Not just for your Hall of Fame ceremony, but just for all your live events in general. And for the time that I was involved in the security industry, which was almost 20 years, you know, it was always a case where if we had some type of a breach in our security, it was always, okay, well, what's going on with these perimeters here? You know, what is going on with the patrolling here? What's going on with the surveillance here? How many men can we supply at these checkpoints? You know, it was always that type of talk. So my message to the WWE would be, do what you can to document how you had your security layout for this Hall of Fame ceremony. And make sure that going forward with all future WWE events, that something like what went down with Bret Hart does not happen again. And I was talking about this more with the missus, you know, and she added her own flavor to this, her own little spin to this. And she said, you know, not for nothing, but that was their first year, as far as you know, having the stage set up the way that it was, right? I said, yeah. Well, not for nothing, but maybe they should go back to how they were doing it last year. That way, it's even much more difficult, like it was the previous years, for a talent to try to get that close to the talent. So, yeah, that's actually a good point. So, there's a lot for WWE to really play around with, but one thing's for certain, after what had went down last year, bet you $1 it's going to be drastically different by the time they get ready to do the Hall of Fame out in Tampa, Florida. So yeah, very, very just on that one. But I want to talk about Kofi Kingston for a second. I want to talk about that because with regards to Kofi Kingston, and I tried to give Josh some time to type up his little thing. I guess Josh just wanted to do a drive-by just to kind of be a troll. Well, this is what I don't understand. If you're going to say, and for those of you that maybe are not in the chatting, you're listening to this on demand and on the downloads, you want to know what Josh had said. Josh had said that this show was trash and I'm done watching wrestling after this show. And it's a shame after 17 years. I'm tired of feeling like after every show I wasted my time. Well, Josh, not for nothing, right? And we love you. We appreciate you. We're sorry that you feel the way that you feel. But Josh, not for nothing. But my friend, you had the G1 Supercard. You had CZW. You had Impact Wrestling. You had Shimmer Wrestling. You had NXT. You had Joey Ryan's thing. You had Joey Janela. There were so many other things that you could have sunken your teeth into this weekend. There was really no excuse. If you were a wrestling fan this past weekend that honestly said, you know what? Damn, man, I need a little bit more variety. I mean, this WWE grind, I'm just kind of not really feeling it. I need a new drug, one that won't make me sick, right? This past weekend was your opportunity for just going out there and just, especially if you had the money. This weekend, I probably spent a total of about maybe $50 checking out some of the other promotions, what they were doing and all that for that respective weekend. I probably checked out maybe a grand total of like 5 other promotions on top of the usual stuff that we cover with regards to WWE. So I got my fix as far as variety goes. I don't think you should put all, and I really want for our younger listeners or listeners that are maybe kind of feeling the way that Josh is feeling, I don't want for you guys to look at a promotion like the WWE and decide that, okay, I'm done. I want for you guys to instead just challenge yourself and just say, you know what, maybe I need a break from the WWE. Maybe I need to go see what else is out there. It ain't no different than, you all know I love watching Undisputed with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, First Things First with Jenna Wolf, Nick Wright, Chris Carter. I have my weeks where I can't stand listening to Shannon Sharp. There are times where I get tired of him trying to get himself over, because usually every single time you watch an episode of Undisputed, it's always I, me and John Elway, I, me, and it's like, dude, no disrespect, but you ain't played in so fucking long. Things are so much fucking different now, right? It's like, why can't we just really kind of stick to the topic at hand, right? And I will spend weeks not watching Undisputed as a result, because I want a little bit more variety. And sometimes on top of First Things First, I'll go outside of that and I'll go see what the other shows are talking about, you know? So it's kind of nice to always go out there and get a little bit more variety. And you can always try to support your local wrestling federation as well. You know, not for nothing, those shows don't really break the bank. And you can also, you never know, you might be meeting somebody that maybe later down the road, you'll be able to say 3, 4, 5 years from now, you'll be able to say, hey, I remember seeing them in my local wrestling federation over here in my city. Yeah, I used to see them every week or every other week. Wow, now look at them. Now they're part of ROH or they're part of New Japan or what have you. So Josh is saying, no, New Japan is fire. I'm just burned out with wrestling. And I think I did respond. No, I only saw the first response that you had gave. And let me look here. He's following it up. No, it's kind of delayed, Josh. So he says that he feels like he wasted hours of his life that he'll never get back. and just the whole thing. He's just done. Yeah, no, that's the only message I saw from you. Pretty much, you posted it twice. That's the only thing that I had saw. But yeah, you could always just go that route, my friend. And hey, nobody said watch it live. I mean, honestly, if push comes to shove, do like most people do. Just set your DVR, and whenever you get the spur of the moment, you can always just, okay, let me see what's going on. All right, that's shit. Fast forward. All right, this looks kind of good. Let me watch this. Okay, yeah, I'm done. Fast forward. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it's nice taking a break. I'm taking a mental break after this show is over. I'll have SmackDown recording in the background, but I'm going to be decompressing for the rest of the week. Just enjoying a nice, quiet civilian life, let me tell you. Let's get into some other topics that's going on. Can I ask a serious question? What's going on with the YouTube stream? Are you guys enjoying the show? Because if you are, you should really be smashing the like button. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you do hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the great content that comes your way on a regular basis. Let's see. Let's get into some other topics before we get ready to wrap it up for tonight. Let me just take a look at some of the other topics we got on the docket for right now. Yes, we talked about that. Yes. Okay. So a lot of dialogue has been happening all freaking day with regards to Kofi Kingston winning the championship and everything. And I put out a message about the whole, hey, look, when you really break it down, Kofi Kingston, apparently he is the first African-American Grand Slam champion or something like that. Somebody had put something out there and I was like, wait a minute, what? It's like, so I still have to kind of research that one, but it looks like from whoever it was that put that out there, it was pretty reliable. So you hear that, you go, wow, that's really cool. I heard so many milestones with regards to Kofi Kingston, but the one that really had me chuckling a little bit was Kofi Kingston as, hey, he is the first 100% black male WWE champion. And I had so many people that were quick to say, well, what about Mark Henry? Well, what about Booker T? And they were kind of being snarky about it. And it was a case of, do you not really understand the history of those respected titles that you are talking about? Because if you really understood the history of those titles, then you would understand why I'm saying what I'm saying, because I'm backing everything up with the facts, right? And so it was really hilarious. And then we had some people that were like, well, what about Naomi? What about Jacqueline? What about Jazz? And it was, we're talking about males. But then it was, well, Mark Henry and Booker T. And I just was going, ay, right? So my message to you guys that keep hitting me up with, what about Mark Henry? What about Booker T? Understand that title that you are referring to, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, otherwise known as the Big Gold Belt, trace its roots pretty much to WCW Big Gold Belt. Okay? What we're talking about is the WWE Championship that's over on the SmackDown side of things, right? This is your homework. Get a good look at this book. And for those of you that are listening to the audio stream and you cannot see this, I will tell you exactly the book that I have in my hands right now that I am showing to our listeners in the web stream here. Let me just bring this in a little more closer. This book right here, this is the WWE Championship. It's rich history of the WWE Championship book. Pick up this copy. I have had this for years now. I have read this book repeatedly. It is a fantastic read. It is by Simon and Schuster. Okay? You could probably pick it up for maybe at this point about $19.99 on Amazon.com or whatever. And what I like about the WWE Championship, look back at the rich history of the WWE Championship. It's by Kevin Sullivan. Not to be confused with that Kevin Sullivan. It's another Kevin Sullivan. But what I like about this book is that they look at the moment from when this title was established. That's what I like about this. And everything pretty much goes as far back to the old territory days in the early 60s is where things pick up with regards to this title. And I love the illustrations that they use. They talk about the first WWF champion, Pat O'Connor. I'd like to read to you all just a little small part, with regards to Pat O'Connor and everything, okay? I want to read to you. Let me pick it up. Here. Hang on. Let's see. Where can I pick it up? Bear with me a second here. Where can I pick it up? Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so I'll read to you just this chapter about Pat O'Connor, okay? There are only a handful of matches that sports entertainment historians regularly point to as the most pivotal performances in WWE Championship history. Bruno Sammartino's quick defeat of Buddy Rogers in May 1963, Hulk Hogan's drubbing of the Iron Sheik in January 1984, Shawn Michaels' highly controversial victory over Bret Hart in the now infamous November 1997 Montreal Screwjob. But amazingly, the most influential title match in WWE history may have actually taken place before the company ever existed. On June 30th, 1961, nearly 2 years before WWE sold its first ticket, Buddy Rogers challenged Pat O'Connor for the National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Championship at Chicago's Comiskey Park in front of more than 38,000 fans. The cocky Rogers claimed the prestigious title that fateful night, thus ending O'Connor's remarkable 2.5-year reign. While winning the gold was certainly impressive, on the surface, the victory simply appeared to be your run-of-the-mill title change. But in reality, Rogers' NWA Championship win actually helped set the wheels in motion for the creation of the global phenomenon known today as the WWE. To fully comprehend how Buddy Rogers' victory eventually resulted in the formation of WWE, it is important to understand how the Northeast Wrestling Territory was operated during this time, and most important, Vincent J. McMahon's rise to power within the region and his subsequent use of Rogers. Vincent J., the father of current WWE chairman Vincent K. McMahon, grew up in and around the business of boxing and wrestling. As the son of popular promoter Jess McMahon, he was afforded a first-hand education that other promoters could only dream of obtaining. This behind-the-scenes access into the wrestling world's inner workings helped catapult Vincent J. into a very prominent position at a relatively young age. At just 20 years old, he began promoting his own fights out of Hempstead, New York in 1935. But before he could make a serious name for himself within the Northeast Territory, the up-and-coming promoter was shipped to North Carolina to serve in the United States Coast Guard during World War II. The move set McMahon's professional career back several years, but he refused to let it permanently derail his dreams. When the time came for McMahon to get back into the business, the New York territory was already under control of successful promoter Joseph Toots Monk. This forced McMahon to take his passion for the squared circle elsewhere. He eventually landed in Washington, D.C. Remember, I always tell you guys that here in D.C., we have a lot of love, we have a lot of history for Vince McMahon. His son Shane McMahon actually was born out here in the DMV. He was born in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Washington, D.C., where he began managing Turner's Arena, a old building once owned by a former middleweight wrestling champion, William Joe Turner. Over the next 4 years, McMahon promoted concerts and weekly wrestling events out of Turner's Arena before eventually buying the facility outright in December 1952. So a little bit more I want to read to you guys. Now in an established arena, as part of his portfolio, McMahon went right to work creating his own wrestling company, and on January 7, 1953, he put his first show under the Capital Wrestling Corporation banner. Like most startups, Capital Wrestling experienced its fair share of uncertainty in the beginning. Are you guys with me so far? You should be. This is good shit right here, okay? Like most startups, Capital Wrestling experienced its fair share of uncertainty in the beginning, but the company's fortunes eventually solidified when McMahon embraced the power of television, a new media that many promoters didn't necessarily understand at the time. On January 5th, 1956, McMahon aired the first ever Capital Wrestling television program. The show was an instant hit, and within 6 months, Capital Wrestling was in high demand as far north as the coveted New York market. This was the opening McMahon needed. With Joe Mont, New York's chief promoter, temporarily sidelined, he was able to promote his product at famed Madison Square Garden. Capital Wrestling proved very popular with the MSG fans, which infuriated Mont. But once the public got a taste of McMahon's company, there was very little anybody could do to stop the momentum coming from the nation's capital. And by 1960, McMahon emerged as the clear victor of the battle for the Northeast. Following the fight for the Northeast supremacy, McMahon shocked the wrestling world when he welcomed former adversary Toots Mont into Capital Wrestling as a partner. Together, the duo accomplished countless successes, but none were as important as the acquisition of Buddy Rogers. At the time, the original Nature Boy was regarded as one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, complete with more than 40 championship reigns from promotions all over North America. He was also one of the most hated, largely due to the arrogant aura he emitted while competing in the ring. But despite his less than favorite personality, Rogers had a knack for drawing sellout crowds wherever he went. And once McMahon and Mont assumed his booking rights, those sellout crowds became their sellout crowds, as the duo booked the majority of his matches to take place in their Northeast territory. In June 1961, Capital Wrestling joined forces with Chicago's Fred Kohler to promote the historic encounter that saw Rogers end Pat O'Connor's epic reign as NWA champion. NWA promoters nationwide saw Rogers win as a golden opportunity to bring wrestlers' biggest draw to their territories, as it was commonplace during this period for the NWA champion to travel from promotion to promotion defending the title. It's almost done. It's about 90 more seconds, guys. But McMahon and Mont saw things differently. Utilizing their booking power over Rogers, they scheduled nearly all of the champion's matches to take place in their territory. In fact, from March 1961 to May 1963, Rogers main evented 23 of the 26 MSG events put on by Capital Wrestling. As a result of this unusually protective style of booking, legendary names such as Stu Hart, Jim Crockett, and Don Owen were deprived of the chance to promote championship matches in their territories. Unfortunately for them, there was very little they could do to better their situation. Instead, they were practically forced to stand idly by as Capital Wrestling got rich off of Rogers' NWA championship reign. Having had enough, the other promoters within the NWA eventually decided that Rogers defending the title almost exclusively in the Northeast was no longer acceptable. They banded together in the search for an adversary lofty enough to unseat the Nature Boy. In the end, they reached out to the great Lou Thesz, who agreed to come out of retirement for another opportunity at the title he had previously held 4 times prior. Much to the joy of every wrestler promoter outside of the Northeast, Thesz was able to dethrone Rogers in Toronto on January 14th, 1963. By this time, though, Buddy Rogers and Capital Wrestling had outgrown the NWA. During Rogers' 19 months as the titleist, Capital Wrestling used its unique stranglehold on the NWA title to help solidify itself as the preeminent wrestling company in the nation, regularly sell out MSG, and produce the most popular wrestling product on television. The title was no longer theirs, but the attention of the ticket purchasing public certainly was. So that's just to whet you all's appetite. That's just to get things going as far as eventually what had happened, you know, with the WWE title and everything. But pick up this book. This book goes all the way up until 2010. Okay, so sadly it doesn't cover what's been happening from 2010 on. But all of that respected WWE Championships titles history from that point all the way up to now. The fact that you are able to go back and really trace its roots. That's why you heard me say what I had said on the show the other night as far as, hey, Kofi Kingston, he is the first 100% African American male WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Because when you go back and look at the history of that title and all of the men that have respectively held it, now you could technically, if you want to say, well, what about The Rock? The Rock is black as well. What the hell? You know, Rock is part black, right? I don't care what other people say. He is part black. So I do look at from a standpoint of Kofi being the second black champion, but he is the first 100% African American champion. I heard JTG was at Wrestlemania. He was just cheesing like a motherfucker. And shout out to JTG because it's so funny. And I don't know, maybe we'll see what he's been up to. But I remember on this show many years back, we had him on and we got the ball rolling because no other show at the time was really putting the platform out there about, hey man, do you really think we'll ever see a black male WWE champion? Do you really think that day will ever happen? And I remember me and JTG, we hooked up and we did a show together, and it's available. It's available on demand on the downloads. It's in the guest exclusive section on the YouTube page. So a really fun, insightful conversation, just picking his brain on all types of topics. That was one of the main ones that I remember of our conversation. And he felt, yeah, we're going to get there one day. It's going to take a little bit of time. But yes, we will get there. Just wait and see. So it would be kind of nice to reminisce once again, right? Be like, hey, man, remember this conversation? And I remember we talked one other time after that. So if we were able to do a little something with him, it would actually be the third time that he's come onto the show. But yeah, please educate yourselves better, right? And I don't say that as a diss or anything like that, but to see the amount of people that just kept going, well, what about Mark Henry? Well, what about Booker T? And it's like, well, what about them? Well, they were a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It's like, they didn't have the title. That's where you gotta, and that's why so many people were really tripping after all of these years, despite the fact that those guys held what they held. It was like, yeah, but it's not the title. That's a secondary. No, it's not the title. So please educate yourselves a little better before you comment, because you could really tell. And I was just amazed at the amount of people that, wow, you call yourself a wrestling fan and you obviously did not brush up. What the hell? Right? And they were just leaving themselves wide open. It was quite comical a lot of times. It was quite comical. Yeah, and it'd be one thing if there were people that were a little bit naive, right? That'd be one thing. But, some of these profiles of some of the peoples that I was looking up, they were calling themselves hardcore wrestling fans and everything. Well, if you're really a hardcore wrestling fan, you should know about this, man. Come on now. So, other than that, what else can we get into on tonight's show? I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything else we want to get into on tonight's show. There was something else I wanted to get into. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I think somebody in the chat maybe had brought it up. Not necessarily Dean Ambrose. It's just kind of sad the way things kind of ended for him. I appreciate his contributions to the business. I mean, if the dude really is done with the WWE, it was a great run while it lasted, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. Oh, that's it. I'm glad we're still on the air. Okay. There's one other piece of news that I want to share with you guys. Remember I told you guys we were going to have some exclusive news with regards to Enzo Amore and Big Cass invading that G1 Supercard show over the weekend? I got some exclusive news here for you guys. I told you from time to time we do break news of our own, okay? I'm friends with a lot of people that are involved in and out of the business. One of my friends over the weekend, they had told me that, no, Josh, it is not a work. That was a straight up shoot. is what I have been told. Somebody that works with, what was it? What did he say? Damn, does he work with ROH or does he work with New Japan? I want to say the guy works in New Japan. My source that is friends with a person that works for one of the two promotions that actually was very hands-on with the talents and all that. They said, and they're very reliable. I said, well, first of all, before I jump out there, if I'm going to report this, I need to know that XYZ, it's on point. Am I telling my listeners to take this with a grain of salt or what? And they said, well, I would go ahead and say take this with a grain of salt, but my guy is very reliable. He would have no reason to tell me if it was bullshit, right? If he was just ribbing me, he would be honest. But according to him, what went down, that's not part of the show. It's not some angle. That was just a straight up shoot. Those guys went into business for themselves. So my question after that was, well, why was security so fucking loose? You know, why didn't they respond when they were supposed to respond, right? And I believe my contact had said security was just kind of, it wasn't clicking for them. They thought maybe it was part of the show or whatever. Then when it was kind of brought to their attention that it wasn't part of the show, then yeah. Oh, you talking about Dean? Well, we're past that. We're past that. That is what it is. If something happens down the road, it is what it is, Josh. But we're talking about what went down at the G1 Supercard. So yeah, my respected sources are telling me that what went down at G1 was just those guys once again going into business for themselves. So my advice to you guys, I would not be hanging off the words of what Enzo Amore likes to put out there, because as I was telling my contact, I said, my God, when you think about what all he had said on that shoot interview, it's really hard to now look at that and take what he's saying at face value, especially the part where he says, oh yeah, there's not enough money in the world with regards to pro wrestling. Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm not taking any bumps. I've had people that have tried to pay me to come on in and just cut a promo or whatever, but I'm moving on to bigger and better things, blah, 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 blah. I know he was involved this past weekend at WrestleCon and everything, but yeah, from what I'm hearing, this was just him trying to bring attention to himself once again. You know, if it turns out that this contact has the information wrong and that this is part of an angle, hey man, as far as the suspension of disbelief goes, I say milk it, work it. If it's got people talking and it's got them in a little bit of a buzz, you got people wondering if this is real or if this is fake, right? Then I say keep it going for as long as you possibly can. But all signs are kind of indicating right now that was just Enzo, somewhat similar to what he had did with freaking, what was it, SummerSlam last year, wasn't it? Wasn't it SummerSlam? Where he popped up like an asshole or whatever. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth. But, you know, you can take it with a grain of salt, but that's what I'm hearing. Sometimes I can break some news, and if it's a case where that information is wrong, unlike some websites and some podcasters, I will gladly come right back here and I will say, hey, the information I had got, it was solid, but obviously it was wrong. For that, I apologize, but take it for what it's worth right now. Trying to think, is there anything else we need to get into before we get ready to wrap it up? As far as headlines go, I don't really think there's anything else. I mean, I'm just looking at my show notes real quick here, just trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to get into. Let me look here. I know, oh, Batista, yeah, Batista, he announced his retirement. Let me talk about that in just a hot second. Also, real quick, I want to get to you all's attention. What about Survivor Series, Gino? You got to tell me. What about Survivor Series? Real quick, there is news. You guys heard about the AAF? You remember that promotion, the AAF? They only lasted about all of 8 weeks before the league had suspended operations last week. It had got a year head start over the XFL. Yeah, that one. Well, it turns out the AAF could have formed a merger with one of those other leagues had the league been willing to accept a deal. According to Sports Business Daily, they reported that the AAF approached the XFL about a merger in December of last year, and Vince McMahon rejected it. The AAF didn't start their respective season until February of this year, if you guys recall. So it was kind of clear that even from way back then, they were kind of knocking on heaven's door, and they were running out of money real freaking quick. XFL representatives, they didn't really want to comment on the matter, but it looks as though because the league's primary investor, former USFL player Reggie Fowler, did not come through with the $28 million payment around Christmas time, the league needed Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon to then come on board as the primary investor and save the league after its first week of games. That name should sound familiar to you guys because he made headlines when he pledged $250 million in funding, and as a result of that, he also became the league's chairman. But he wasn't enough to keep that respected league afloat, and they were reportedly losing $10 million per week before ultimately the plug was pulled on them. AAF co-founder Charlie Ebersol, whose dad is Dick Ebersol, was a partner of the original XFL, has not publicly commented on the demise of the AAF, and you know what, rightfully so. I mean, that's got to be embarrassing on so many levels that it's not even funny, right? So, hey, good common sense on Vince McMahon's part to stay the hell away from that. I think him and whoever his people were that were giving him some really good solid advice, intel, and all that, they did their homework, and I guess they realized, nah man, this is knocking on heaven's door. We don't want to touch this. This would be bad for our stock on so many levels. Nope, let's stay away from it. DC's got its own team, by the way, for the XFL next year. I'm excited. I can't wait to go. I'm actually going to try to check out as many games as humanly possible. I'm gonna try to see if maybe I can get some season tickets, and I don't care if it's good, I don't care if it's mediocre, I don't care if it's bad. I just want to be able to go. I remember watching the XFL on my TV for the short weeks that it was on, and I liked the first 2 weeks, but then they started getting all comical with storyline bullshit, players interacting with the cheerleaders, and then they were bringing in the wrestlers, and JR and Jerry Lawler doing football color commentating. It was bullshit. I tuned out real quick. So I was not surprised when it flopped. But this go around, it really seems like they're trying to really do this serious. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. And yeah, I'll give you my money. Let's see what you guys can do. Let's go around. And if it's shit, I'll be right here on this show saying it was shit. Gino was talking about as far as Enzo doing that run-in. It was not SummerSlam. It was Survivor Series. Thank you, Gino. Appreciate that, buddy. How you been? And honesty, yes, it would be awesome to get JTG back on the show again. It would. So keep your fingers crossed, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, Dave Bautista. I can't end the show without talking about this, man. Dave Bautista went on social media, and he, put some thoughts out there as far as, hey, this is it, right? Because he announced officially his retirement from professional wrestling, basically, from sports entertainment wrestling. And I want to see if I can actually pull up what he had said. And if somebody wants to lend me a hand, you're more than welcome to give me a link to what he had said here. You can post it in the Discord or in the freaking YouTube chat here. Let me see if I can pull up Dave Bautista real quick here. I will try Instagram first, and hopefully he hasn't put that much stuff out there. Sometimes I feel like an old man when it comes to moving around on some of these things here. Hang on. Dave Bautista, where you at, brother? Okay, cool. So this is what he had to say. I got it. This is what he had to say. To all the WWE fans across the world, they gave me the opportunity to suspend your disbelief. Thank you. From the biggest part of my heart, thank you for letting me entertain you. Tonight was my storybook ending, and I wanted to leave you with all I had to give. I'll miss this theater of violence more than I can express in words, but I am officially retiring from sports entertainment. I'm proud of what I've accomplished. I leave in great health and without a doubt, the show will go on. I had a hell of a run. Thank you for the journey. He gave up a peace symbol emoji, hashtag Dream Chaser, hashtag WrestleMania 35. You know, I'm a little bit sad. I really legit sad. I've been watching Batista. You guys know, I've said it on the show many times. I've been watching Batista since his SmackDown debut. Took one look at him as Deacon Batista. Me and my friends were like, wow. And I said, who the fuck is that, right? It was, oh, that's Dave Batista. You know, I learned about him being the Leviton down in OVW and all that. Saw a little bit of early footage and all that shit. And I kind of liked what I saw with him. And I took one look at him and I said, that dude's money. This dude's going to be a multi-time fucking world heavyweight champion. You just wait and see. He's going to be right up there with the Goldbergs. He's going to be right up there with the Stone Colds. He's going to be right up there with the Rocks, the Triple H's. Just wait and see. And he did that. He fucking crushed that in my book. And if you would have told me he was going to be able to go to the heights that he was able to go in Hollywood, I wouldn't have been able to predict that. I saw big things happening for him in his future. I saw lots of money making opportunities in his future, but I never thought he would be the bona fide Hollywood star that he is right now. I never thought that in a million years. So to see what he's been able to do outside of the world of professional wrestling, it's really awesome. And just the fact that he's right here from DC, and you know, it's always it's great seeing somebody from the nation's capital make it, because it's rough out here. It is rough out here. You know, you think Chicago is bad. There are a lot of parts in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We refer to it as the DMV. Know that if you ever get to travel out here, we just say the DMV. There are a lot of bad areas out here, and DC alone, a lot of gun violence. There has been a lot of gun violence that it's not even funny. I think the homicide for this year, we ain't even at the 6-month period yet. And where we are as far as the homicides reached so far this year in 2019 in DC, it surpassed what went down in 2018, right? Which was a big number. But like now we're even surpassing it, right? So it's crazy. So, you know, to their credit, the governments out here, you know, politicians, the mayors and all that, they're doing their part in trying to clean up the areas and all that. But it's been a slow progress. Things are getting better, but it's still a struggle. It's still a struggle to try to do what you got to do. And, you know, it's quite sad. You could be minding your own fucking business, doing what you need to do, go to school, right? Get your education on, try to help out in your community or whatever, and then boom, drive-by shooting, you're dead, right? So trust me when I say that Batista definitely had it rough, especially at the time that he was growing up out here. He had it rough as he was growing up, and his life could have ended up completely one way, right? He could have ended up with a gang, and that could have went to some serious lengths of him being incarcerated, or he could have been in the morgue. And so his story is a great inspiration for us residents out here in the DMV of, you know, hey man, you stick to your dreams, you don't give up, you know. So it's really awesome. I'm a bit melancholy. I really am. You know, I had the chance to meet him at Awesome Con last year. You know, talk to him for several minutes. One of the things that we was talking about was MMA and boxing and all that, because I do love checking that shit out from time to time, and it was nice picking his brain and all that. And he seemed like a very personable man, very humbled guy. And you know, I told him, I said, look, I said, you know, thank you for, you know, everything that you've done, you know, in the business. And you know, it's really awesome seeing you doing what you've been doing. You know, just keep doing you. And you know, I kept it, you know, kind of short and sweet. I didn't want to get too mushy or whatever, but you know, it hurts. It does hurt. Yeah, I wish he could have gotten a better, proper send off. But I know for years now he's basically was saying, "Nah, man, this is how I want to go out. I want to do one more match. You know, win, lose or draw. I just want to do one more match. I'm going to be turning 50 and." Man, if we're not able to do it by the time that WrestleMania comes around, then it's like, let's not even bother. Let's just forget about it. This is something he's been wanting for some years now. So I'm glad that Triple H and the WWE were able to grant him his wish, and he can now officially put this in the rearview mirror. Like I said on the WrestleMania After Show, he looked fairly good. He looked to be in fairly decent shape and all that. Little bit of ring rust, whatever he might have had, he was able to shake it off fairly well. I'm gonna miss the dude. As far as in the world of pro wrestling, I'm gonna miss the dude big time. I really, really am. But you know what? We ain't gonna be able to mourn the loss of him too long, because we're gonna be seeing him in some upcoming movies. So we don't have to really feel that bad about it. Also, you know, with regards to Batista, I wish that, you know, I know we couldn't do anything like with Kurt Angle, with Batista. We could pretty much forget about that, you know. But for a guy who you knew, man, this is the last time we're going to be seeing him in a WWE ring. You know, I wish that he could have gotten a standing ovation by that crowd. And he did not get that. And that's something that's just going to forever kind of blow my mind a little bit, because I'm seeing him and I'm going, it's not like this dude has been off our TV for X amount of years. We've seen him in all kinds of cool movies, good movies, blockbuster hits. So we know this guy. And the fact that it didn't really translate that well this go round, that he came back, and to see him not really get that standing ovation after everything was all said and done, I felt a little bit heartbroken for the guy. I really, really did. It just kind of lets you know that when you spend X amount of time away from the WWE, in this case, what, he was away this go round for 5 years. Last time we saw him was 2014, right? So here we are, we fast forward to now. You know, it just goes to show you that the WWE universe as a whole, they, you know, it's really interesting. But you know what, I really should not be that surprised, because when I saw him at AwesomeCon last year, the few people that I was talking to, there were more people, and it was the general vibe I was getting from the crowd and everything, hearing chatters and all that. General vibe I had got at AwesomeCon was the people that were mainly there were there because they were familiar with his acting career. They were familiar with him from Drax, Guardians of the Galaxy. They didn't know anything about his pro wrestling career. And then you had fans like us that, oh yeah, we know about his wrestling and we know about his acting career. So, you know, we got the best of both worlds, right? There was us. So, but there was more so, yeah, dude, Hollywood dude, yeah, Guardians, yeah, Marvel. That was the main gist. Right down to the point when you went up to his table, you had, you know, some pictures that were actor Batista, and then for the wrestling fans, you had pictures that were, oh, okay, it's Batista in wrestling gear, or oh, it's Batista in MMA gear, right? So, but you know, I'm a bit sad. I'm a bit sad, but you know, hey man, he went out there 50 years old. Hey, I'm like this. By the time I get his age, I want to be swinging just like that. Just like that. Health and all, I want to be swinging just like that. He looks pretty good. He makes 50 look so damn good. That's all I got to say. Yes, and Gino, yep, looks like he's going to be back. Guardians of the Galaxy, yep, now that James Gunn is back directing it. And I believe it was Batista. Was it Batista that said, hey, eventually he'll come back? Somebody, no, you know what? It was Luke Cage. Luke Cage, Mike Coulter. He said, I have a feeling once things die down, he's going to be brought back. But I could be wrong, and he called it right. Josh, am I the only one who is very big on Pete Dunne? No, there's a lot of us that were big fans of Pete Dunne. It sucked to see him lose the title to Walter at TakeOver, but I mean, hey, you know, you got to go in a new direction. I have a feeling he's one of the guys that's going to get called up from next week, which, by the way, on that note, let's go ahead. Let's take a fork in it. We'll call the show DONE done. Somehow we managed to do a regular episode for you guys. That's cool. That's cool. Like I said, really wasn't that much to talk about this week, but I'm just happy that we were able to give you guys a show. Look, we are going to be coming back live next Monday. Reason being, next Monday is the Superstar Shakeup. Okay? I definitely want to come on. I have no problem coming on after Monday Night Raw. I think what we'll end up doing for that respected night, because you guys got to keep in mind that luckily I was off work Monday, but I do have to go back today, which is now Tuesday morning. So good morning to you guys on the East Coast. But next Monday, what we're going to do, we're going to play it smart. By smart, when Raw goes off the air, all we're going to talk about is Raw. We'll talk about the Superstar Shakeup, all that stuff. So at most, we'll probably do about an hour of a recap, and maybe we can do the last 30 minutes, getting you guys involved. Maybe you could do a Q&A with me. If you want to come on the air via Discord, we could do that for you guys as well. And then Tuesday, we'll have our regular RCWR show, right? Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll come on back live, usual platforms for you guys, and we'll continue night 2 of the Superstar Shakeup, and we will also do the regular edition that we normally do on Tuesday nights of the RCWR show for you. So mark that down, because I don't want you guys to forget, because it's rare that we come on Mondays, and honestly, I was not going to come on next Monday, but when they made the announcement of the Superstar Shakeup, I felt I have to come back next Monday. So one more time, I'll come at you guys on Monday, and Tuesday, right? You got it. So Monday night, Raw goes off the air, we're live. Tuesday night, after SmackDown goes off the air, we're alive. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you may have missed. There was a ton of good shit that I put out there for you guys. Hall of Fame ceremony, G1 Supercard, NXT Takeover. My God, there was like 4, 5, 6 different things I had did pretty much leading all the way up to now for you Patreon members. Even though I'm going to be taking a well-deserved break all this week, I will be doing something Patreon-wise for you guys. We're going to do a new episode of Wrestling with the Topics, me and the missus, and we're also going to do a new 30 with Lee for you guys. So if you haven't signed up yet, do sign up. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. $5 a month. Get access to bonus audio, video content. Won't be able to find anywhere else. And that's going to do it. Shout out to everybody that was in the live chat tonight. Appreciate the love and support as always. If you've been a long time listener, make sure you get at me on the Twitter and the Facebook. Ask for the Discord hookup, and I'll do my best to hook you up. And yeah, speaking of which, get at me. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, use the keywords, the RCWR Show. That is going to do it. I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe, and most importantly, be kind to one another. Very good night, good morning. Catch you next Monday. Oh yeah, it's going to be good.